The world has already selected against you. Your belief in support is the very weakness that ensures your continued irrelevance. The sovereign delusion. You have been taught that a network is a net that works for you. This is the first and most lethal lie. The truth is that every hand extended in your direction is a vector for obligation, a chain waiting to be secured. Your desire for support is not pragmatic. It is a psychological flaw, a relic of a tribal past where exclusion meant death. In the modern arena, that same need for inclusion is what signs your death warrant as a sovereign entity. Reframe the concept completely. Support is not a resource, it is a debt. Every endorsement, every loaned resource, every offered shoulder comes with a silent contract written in terms of your future freedom. You're not building a team. You are assembling a committee that will vote on your decisions. The moment you require another's contribution to move, you have ceded a portion of your authority. You have made yourself governable. This lens shift is non-negotiable. Look at your current trajectory. The mentor you seek, the partner you crave, the community you beg for validation from, these are not assets. They are external systems you're petitioning for permission to exist. The truly powerful operate from a principle of radical self-containment. They do not seek support, they audit for utility. They do not build bridges out of need, they construct causeways of pure strategy, which they can dissolve at will. Your starting point must be this: you are already complete. Anything added to you is either a tool or a threat. There is no third category. Begin here or remain a dependent. The mechanism of parasitic interdependence. This weakness is not an accident. It is engineered into your neurology. The craving for support is a sophisticated chemical trap. When you receive help, your brain releases oxytocin and dopamine, the same rewards associated with bonding and safety. Your own biology interprets dependency as social success. It is a brilliant, cruel trick of evolution. It makes you feel warmth when you are being welded into a cage. This is the core psychological mechanism. You are being narcotized by your own need to belong. Subconsciously, you are conditioning yourself for servitude. Each time you outsource a solution, each time you require validation to proceed, you are not solving a problem. You are practicing helplessness. You are reinforcing the neural pathway that says, "I am not enough alone." This creates a behavioral loop of petitioning. You begin to see yourself as a satellite, requiring a central body to grant you energy and purpose. Your internal wiring begins to broadcast a signal of need, and the predators of the world, the manipulators, the extractors, the mediocre who seek followers, are tuned to receive it. Understand the transaction. What you call support is in the economy of power, a lease agreement. You are leasing your autonomy for a temporary comfort. The interest rate is your discretion. The collateral is your potential. Every piece of advice taken is a subtle imprint of another's will onto your strategy. Every resource accepted is a ledger entry. This mechanism does not build your throne. It weaves the net that will eventually suspend you from it. To operate outside this mechanism is to perform neurosurgery on your own instincts. You must identify the craving for the tribe and reinterpret it as the system's attempt to reclaim a useful cell. Archetypes of the dependent, the petitioner, the ally, the vassal. These are not just roles you play. They are identities you inhabit, each a pre-programmed path to irrelevance. Recognize them in your reflection. The petitioner is the most obvious. He approaches the world with empty hands, his posture a question mark. He believes humility is a virtue, when in reality, it is a signal. He trades dignity for directions, forever asking for maps in a territory where sovereigns create the borders themselves. His loop is eternal preparation, seeking one more piece of guidance before he dares to move. He will die waiting for permission. Next, the ally. More sophisticated, more deluded, He believes in the myth of mutual benefit, of equal partnership. He fails to see that all alliances are temporary convergences of interest, and that he who values the alliance itself over his own objective is already the junior partner. The ally's loop is compromise. He dampens his own ambition to maintain the harmony of the group, surrendering strategic edge for tactical comfort. He is the one who brings 70% of the value but accepts 50% of the spoils, believing the relationship is the real prize. It is not. It is his cage. Finally, the most dangerous archetype because it feels like power. The vassal. He attaches himself to a stronger force, an institution, a leader, a corporation. He derives his sense of strength from his proximity to the throne. He mistakes borrowed authority for his own. His loop is loyal service, expecting protection and reward from his lord. This is the oldest trap. The vassal is always expendable, his fate tied to the fortunes of another. When the winds change, he is not just weak. He is strategically condemned by his own associations. He traded his sovereignty for a title and will be buried with it. You will see yourself in one of these patterns. The first step to breaking the loop is to name the ghost you are haunting. The solitary predator's advantage history is not written by committees. It is carved by singular wills that understood a fundamental truth. Consensus is the death of greatness. Every evolutionary leap, every empire, every paradigm shift was precipitated not by a supportive community, but by an organism that operated outside the herd's approval. The shark does not consult the school before it strikes. The eagle does not seek consensus from the cliff face. Your longing for support is a regression, a subconscious attempt to re-enter the protective warmth of the herd where the price of safety is your potential for dominance. Consider the raw mechanics of power. A decision made alone is instant, absolute, and adaptable. A decision filtered through support is diluted, debated, and compromised. While the dependent is building consensus, the sovereign has already acted. While the ally is sharing his plan, the predator has already secured the territory. This is not a metaphor. It is the operational reality of every high-stakes environment. Financial markets, geopolitical maneuvering, intellectual conquest. The victors are those who can bear the profound silence of acting entirely on their own intelligence. Your dependencies create noise. Your obligations create friction. Your need for validation creates a fatal lag between insight and execution. The threat is long-term atrophy. A muscle unused withers. Your capacity for judgment, for risk assessment, for bearing the consequences of your actions. These are muscles. Each time you outsource a decision to a mentor, a partner, or a board, you are not leveraging wisdom. You are leasing out your own judgment, and the lease payment is your competence. Over time, you will find yourself incapable of trusting your own instincts. You will become a permanent tenant in your own life, waiting for the landlord of external validation to approve any renovation. The solitary predator has no such weakness. Strategic ablation, cutting the supply lines. This is not a motivational speech. It is a surgical protocol. You must perform a strategic ablation, the deliberate, cold severing of the emotional and practical supply lines that feed your dependent identity. This is not about burning bridges in a fit of emotion. It is about dissolving the very concept that you require bridges to cross your own chasms. The first incision is financial. Any monetary inflow that comes with strings, expectations, or the soft power of gratitude must be cauterized. If you cannot sustain your own operation, you do not own it. You are merely its temporary custodian for your creditors. Next, excise the emotional and advisory crutches. This means the mentors whose approval you seek, the peers whose validation you measure yourself against, the networks you cling to for a sense of belonging. You do this not by dramatic confrontation, but by silent, operational withdrawal. You stop reporting, you stop asking, you cease presenting your plans for review. Let them interpret your silence as they wish. Your goal is not to explain your sovereignty, but to embody it. The withdrawal symptoms will be intense: anxiety, a feeling of exposure, the gravitational pull of old dependencies. Interpret this not as loss, but as the death throes of a weaker version of yourself. Finally, and most critically, you must abort the internal petition. This is the constant, silent dialogue where you explain yourself to an imaginary council. You must install a psychic quarantine. Decisions are made in the silent chamber of your own strategic calculus. Period. The discipline is this: act as if no one is coming. Act as if no one would understand if they did. Act as if your only feedback mechanism is the cold, hard result of your actions in the real world. This transforms you from a social entity reacting to approval into a causal force, reacting only to effect. You are no longer networking. You are now conducting from a place of profound isolation, a silent audit of all external elements. They are either instrument or environment, nothing more. Becoming the unassailable fortress, the dependent identity must not be reformed. It must be incinerated. What remains is not an improved version of the old self, but a new entity with a different architectural principle. The old identity was an open system, leaking energy, seeking input, vulnerable to infection from the opinions and needs of others. The new identity is a closed system, the unassailable fortress. Its power does not come from what it attaches to, but from what it contains within its own walls. Your intellect, your will, your resourcefulness. These become your only canon. The drawbridge is not permanently down. It is operated on a mechanism of pure, detached strategy. This is an identity of absolute authorship. You are no longer a character seeking a role in someone else's narrative. You are the author, the narrative, and the sole critic. Your validation is an internal process, a silent audit of alignment between your actions and your strategic intent. Relationships transform from sources of support into diplomatic engagements. You do not need allies. You may employ temporary agents of your will. You do not crave mentors. You may acquire specific intelligence. The emotional register of these interactions flatlines into pure utility. This is what sovereignty feels like. Not euphoria, but a profound and quiet stillness. The chaos of external need is replaced by the silent humming order of self-containment. Understand the final transformation. You are no longer human in the communal sense. You have shed that skin. You are a polity of one. Your psychology is your statecraft. Your resources are your treasury. Your time is your sovereign territory. To engage with you is to treat with a separate power. This is the pinnacle state of operating with zero support. Not because support was denied, but because you designed a system where the very concept is obsolete. You have moved beyond the ecosystem. You are now the climate itself. The isolation mandate. This is the final selection. The herd moves with a single slow instinct toward comfort, validation, and shared delusion. Its path is a wide, well-trodden trench leading to a predictable end. Obscurity, compromise, and quiet resignation. You are now at the border of that trench. Look back and you see the collective warmth, the noise, the false security of shared blame. Look forward and you see only the cold, silent, open expanse of your own potential territory. This is not a choice between happiness and misery. It is a choice between sovereignty and absorption. The warning is absolute. If you retreat from this silence, if you let the withdrawal symptoms scare you back into the network of obligation, you will be marked, not by us, but by reality itself. You will have demonstrated a fundamental lack of the requisite material. You will become a permanent resident of the intermediary world, too aware for the herd, too weak for the solitude. You will spend your days as a ghost in the machine, feeling every gear turn against your spirit, forever nostalgic for a prison because its walls gave you shape. This is the decay that comes from failed integration. You chose the anesthesia of belonging over the sharp, clean air of your own authority. The call to action is not for them. It is for the one who has finished the audit and found the only asset that matters, himself. The protocol is simple and severe. Walk, not in anger, not in drama, but as a natural function. Let every relationship become a diplomatic channel you control. Let every resource be an internal calculation. Let your entire presence become a statement of silent, unassailable completion. This is the elite tier. There are no memberships, no badges. There is only the quiet recognition between those who have also burned their ships. You are either building your fortress or you are supplying bricks for someone else's. The mandate is isolation. The result is empire. Choose. Thanks for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe.